It was Friday, January 30th, 2026. Silver just fell off a cliff. It dropped from $121 straight down to $95. That is $26 vaporized in a matter of hours. Gold took a hit, too. It crashed from $5,600 down to $49.50. $650 was wiped off the board. If you are looking at your portfolio right now and your stomach is turning, stop. Do not sell. Do not panic because the number on your screen is a lie. The entire system just broke. What I am about to show you defies the laws of economics. The numbers do not add up. The story the news is telling you is fake. Here is the reality. Silver crashed by 22% this week. That is a bloodbath. It is one of the biggest weekly crashes we have seen in decades. But try to buy an ounce of silver right now. Go ahead, try it. You can't. The Perth Mint in Australia has suspended sales. They are closed. The US Mint has suspended sales. The Royal Mint in the UK is completely out of stock. Dealers in India are defaulting on deliveries. Even Costco has slapped purchase limits on everything. Let me say that again so it really sinks in. The price is crashing through the floor, but you cannot buy the product. Does that make any sense to you? Does that sound like a free market? Imagine walking into a car dealership. The dealer runs up to you and says, "Great news. Ferraris are 90% off today. They are dirt cheap." You get excited. You pull out your checkbook. You say, "Awesome. I will take two." And then the dealer looks at you and says, "Oh, sorry. We don't actually have any cars. The lot is empty." That is not a sale. That is a scam. In any normal market, when the price crashes, it happens because there is too much supply. Sellers flood the market. Product is everywhere. That is how markets work. When things are cheap, they are easy to find. But that is not what is happening here. Here, the price is crashing while the supply is vanishing. The price is going down while the whole world runs out. Something is very wrong. The engine is smoking. And by the end of this explanation, you will see exactly which part is broken. You are watching the hidden economy. This is the stuff the headlines ignore. Now, look at the timeline. A few days ago, I warned you. I told you that $117 was a danger zone for silver. I showed you the 30-year pattern. I said a crash was likely at the time. Everyone called me crazy. Everyone was bullish. Now look where we are. Silver went from 121 to 95. But I have to be honest with you. There is one thing I did not expect. I expected the price drop. I did not expect the physical market to completely die. I did not expect mints around the world to lock their doors. I did not expect the paper price and the real price to divorce each other. But they have. The link is severed. We need to look under the hood. You need to understand this mechanic because it is the only way to save your wealth. Most people lose money because they think there is one silver market. That is a mistake. There isn't one market. There are two. And right now they are telling two completely different stories. The first market is the paper market. This is the comics. This is Wall Street. This is where hedge funds, big banks, and algorithms trade billions of dollars of silver every single day. But here's the secret. They are not trading silver. They are trading paper. They are trading digital contracts. These are just promises. A piece of paper that says, "I owe you silver." Most of these contracts never turn into real metal. It is a giant casino. It is a poker game. Billions of dollars in chips move across the table, but nobody actually touches the real thing. It is financial vapor. Then you have the second market, the physical market. This is the real world. This is where actual metal changes hands. Coins you can hold, bars you can stack, the stuff that takes up space in a vault. Here's the critical point. These two markets are supposed to be connected. The paper price is supposed to be a price tag for the physical metal. But right now, today, that connection is gone. The wire is cut. The paper market says silver is $95. The physical market says you cannot have any at any price. One of these markets is lying to you. Which one do you trust? Do you trust the computer screen blinking red, or do you trust the empty shells at the bullion dealer? The evidence is overwhelming. Look at the Perth Mint in Australia. This isn't a small shop. This is one of the largest, most respected mints on the planet. They have been making gold and silver bars for over a century. Governments rely on them. Institutional investors rely on them. If the Perth Mint says they are out, they are out. And if the metal is gone, the paper price means nothing. Go back to Thursday morning. This was before the chaos, before the price fell off the cliff. Silver was sitting at $117. It looked stable. It looked normal. But behind closed doors, the Perth Mint was already hitting the panic button. They sent a notice to their wholesale distributors. I have seen the letter. It is shocking. They said they had to pause all orders. They shut the window. They said, "Do not ask for more silver." They froze everything until February 23rd. Think about that date, February 23rd. That is a month away. A month of silence. A month of zero supply going to wholesalers. And remember, they wrote this letter when silver was at $117. The price was high and they were already broken. They admitted they had a large backlog. They admitted they could not keep up with worldwide demand. They even used the word allocations. In plain English, allocations means rationing. It means you get what we give you, not what you want. It is like the soup kitchen line. You get one bowl. That is it. This isn't some guy in a basement selling coins on eBay. This is the Australian government. Australia is one of the biggest silver producers on Earth. They dig the stuff out of the ground, and even they have run dry. Now, use your common sense. If the mint was drowning when silver was expensive, what happens when silver goes on sale? The price crashed to $95. That is a 22% discount. Every investor on the planet saw that drop. They saw a bargain. They rushed in to buy, but they rushed into a store that was already empty. The crash didn't fix the supply problem. It poured gasoline on the fire. It created a tsunami of buyers fighting over nothing. And this is where you need to be very careful. You might be looking at that $95 price tag and thinking, I need to buy right now before I miss the bottom. You want to secure your future. You want to trade your paper money for real assets. I get it. That is the smart play. But you are walking into a trap. There is a specific reason why the paper price is crashing while the real world is running out. And if you don't understand who is pulling the levers, you are going to get burned. I am going to explain exactly who is rigging this price in just a minute. But first, you have to see the scale of the damage. Look at the United States Mint. They suspended sales, too. They pulled the plug on their website. If you called them, they mumbled something about updating prices. That is code for we are losing money. Here's the truth. They were selling silver eagles for $91, but the spot price kept climbing. It got to the point where they were selling dollar bills for $90. No business can do that, not even the government. So they stopped. When they turned the lights back on, the price wasn't $91 anymore. It was $169. That is an 86% price jump overnight. The paper market says the price is down. The US Mint says the price is up 86%. The 2026 Eagle is delayed. Subscriptions are sold out. The cupboard is bare. But it gets darker. Look at India. India is the heartbeat of the physical silver market. They love silver. But right now, Indian dealers aren't just out of stock. They are defaulting. Do you know what default means? It means theft. It means you paid for the silver. They took your money and then they said, sorry, we don't have it. Amazon sellers in India are canceling orders after the cash has cleared. People are posting screenshots. They are angry. They are scared. This isn't a supply chain issue. This is a breakdown of trust. The system is failing to deliver the goods. Check the Royal Mint in Britain. They have been making coins for 1,000 years. They survived wars. They survived plagues. They cannot survive this market. They are out of stock on basic 1 kilogram bars. The most common bar in the world gone. And finally, look at Costco. Yes, the place where you buy 50 rolls of toilet paper and a rotisserie chicken. They started selling silver. It was a huge hit. But now purchase limits, rationing. Costco is a bulk retailer. Their entire business model is buy as much as you want. And even they're saying stop. You can only have 5. Why would a store that wants to sell you things stop you from buying? Because they don't have the metal. The demand is so high that it broke the supply chain. But here's the thing that should keep you up at night. If demand is this high, if the world is fighting for every scrap of silver, why is the price crashing? Let's talk about China. This is the part that should make the hair on your arm stand up. I pulled the data from the Shanghai Futures Exchange this morning, January 30th. This is raw data. This is what is actually happening right now. The Shanghai vaults are holding 455 metric tons of silver. That is about 6 million ounces. It sounds like a lot, doesn't it? 6 million ounces sounds like a mountain of silver. It's not. It's a molehill. And here is the number that made my jaw hit the floor. In just one day, 94 metric tons were removed from the vaults. 27 tons vanished in 24 hours. I need you to visualize this. Imagine a fleet of armored trucks backing up to the vault, loading up 87,000 ounces of silver and driving away. That happened in one day. At this rate, the Shanghai vaults will be empty in less than 3 weeks. Zero. Nothing left. Let me put that in context for you. Global demand for silver is over 1 billion ounces a year. 6 million ounces. That is barely 1%. That is a rounding error. That is loose change in the couch cushions, and it is disappearing fast. But nobody is talking about this. Turn on CNBC. Turn on Bloomberg. Silence. They are talking about stock prices. They are talking about tech earnings. They are ignoring the fact that the world's factory, China, is running out of raw materials. Here is why this is terrifying. China isn't just buying. They are locking the doors. They have restricted silver exports. They have classified silver as a strategic national security asset. Think about that label, national security asset. They are treating silver the same way they treat materials for missiles, the same way they treat components for AI supercomputers. They are telling you that silver is not just money, it is survival. So connect the dots. China is stopping silver from leaving the country. At the same time, they are draining their own public vaults. They are moving the metal from public view into private dark storage. What does that tell you? It tells you they know something we don't. They know the storm is coming. While Americans are panicking and selling paper contracts, China is quietly taking possession of every ounce it can find. One side is selling paper promises. The other side is hoarding real wealth. Who do you think is going to win that trade? But who is doing the selling? Who is driving the price down while China buys everything? This is the most important part of this video. If you understand this, you understand the whole game. Look at the clock. Nearly all the selling this week happened during US market hours. Not when London is awake, not when Tokyo is trading, only when New York opens its eyes. The pattern is identical every day. New York opens, the price dumps, red candles everywhere, aggressive selling. Then New York closes, the price stabilizes. Sometimes it even goes up while Asia is trading. Then New York opens again, and boom, another crash. This is not random. This is not an accident. This is an attack. The US markets are dumping paper. They are selling digital contracts. They are pressing a button and creating silver out of thin air. It is a video game. They have unlimited lives. They have unlimited ammo because it isn't real. Meanwhile, in the real world, Asia and the Middle East are backing up the trucks. They are buying physical bars. They are taking delivery. They are removing the metal from the system. One side is playing make-believe. The other side is taking the prize home. The West sells paper. The East buys metal. This has been the dynamic for years. But right now, it is violent. The disconnect is extreme. This is a rigged game, and you are sitting at the table. If you don't know the rules, you are the sucker. You are going to look at that crashing paper price, get scared, and sell your real silver. And guess who will buy it? Someone in Shanghai, someone in Dubai. They will thank you for the discount. Do not be the victim. Be the one who sees the board. But there is one more signal that proves the system is cracking. It is called the lease rate. The lease rate is the cost to borrow physical silver. Usually, it is low, maybe 1% or 2%. It is cheap to borrow silver because there is plenty of it sitting around right now. The rates have exploded. Some reports say 8%. Others are seeing rates as high as 39%. 39% to borrow a lump of metal. That is a scream for help. That is a panic signal. That means banks are desperate to get their hands on physical bars, and they are willing to pay loan shark rates to get them. Why would they pay 39% interest? Because they owe silver to someone and they don't have it. They are caught in a squeeze. And this squeeze is about to get a lot worse because there is a hidden player entering the market. A player bigger than China, bigger than the banks. And when they make their move, 39% is going to look like a joke. I'm going to reveal who this new player is and why their entry changes everything in just a moment. But first, we need to look at the chart that predicts exactly when this explosion happens. 39%. That is the number that should be burned into your brain. When banks are paying loan shark rates just to borrow a bar of silver for a few days, the system is not just sick. It is dying. It means the physical market is broken. It means there isn't enough real metal to go around. Let me connect the dots for you. What you are watching is the death of the pricing mechanism. For 50 years, the price of silver wasn't set by supply and demand. It was set by paper trading. Bankers in New York and London trade hundreds of millions of ounces of paper silver every day. They swap contracts back and forth. They set the price. The actual physical market, the stuff you can hold, is tiny compared to this paper mountain. This allowed them to control the price. They could manipulate it. They could suppress it. But something just snapped. The physical demand has become so massive that the paper game can't hide it anymore. Mints are closed. Vaults are empty. Dealers are stealing money. Lease rates are vertical. The paper market screams $95. The physical market screams, you can't have it. One of these markets has to break. Either the paper price skyrockets to match reality, or the physical market completely shuts down and goes black. I believe we are standing on the edge of that cliff right now. So what does this mean for you? Knowing the system is rigged is useless if you don't know how to play the game. I am going to be direct. No fluff. If you hold physical silver, do not panic. Do not let the red numbers on your screen scare you. Do not sell. Look at the facts, not the price ticker. The Perth Mint is closed. The US Mint is raising prices by 86%. China is hoarding. The vaults are bleeding. You are holding the one asset the entire world is fighting over. The paper price is noise. It is a distraction. Your metal is worth what someone is willing to pay for it in the real world. And right now, that is a lot more than $95. Hold tight. If you are holding paper, silver, ETFs, futures, digital contracts, you need to ask yourself a hard question. If everyone asked for delivery tomorrow, could they give it to you? The answer is no. There is not enough metal. You don't own silver. You want a promise. And in a crisis, promises are the first thing to break. If you are trying to buy right now, good luck. You are entering a war zone. Premiums are exploding. In Japan, people are paying 60% over the spot price. In Dubai, it is 40%. The screen says 95. The street says 130. If you can find metal at a reasonable price, buy it. It won't be there tomorrow. Here's the paradox that breaks people's brains. The lower the paper price goes, the faster the physical silver disappears. Low prices create demand. Demand drains the supply. The crash isn't fixing the shortage. It is making it terminal. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This is just a conspiracy theory. The market is fine. It's just a bad week. To those people, I say, look at the data. Perth Mint suspended. US Mint suspended. Royal Mint out of stock. India defaulting. Costco rationing. Shanghai drained. Lease rates 39%. This isn't one shop having a bad day. This is every major source of silver on Earth failing at the exact same time. That is not a conspiracy. That is math. And the timing it is suspicious. Today is the last trading day of January. The last day of the week, end of month, Friday. This is when contracts expire. This is when the big boys square their books. January was a monster month. Silver was up 65%. It was breaking records. So on the very last day, they crashed it. They slammed the price down. Why? To shake you out. To make you scared. To make you sell your position. So they can buy it cheaper. This is a wealth transfer. They are taking money from emotional retail traders and giving it to patient institutions. Your fear is their profit. But this didn't start today. This has been building for 5 years. We have been in a deficit since 2021. For 5 years straight. We have used more silver than we dug out of the ground. Here are the numbers. The world mines about 835 million ounces a year. That is the supply cap. But the world uses over 1 billion ounces. We need it for solar panels. We need it for electric cars. We need it for iPhones, missiles, and medical devices. Plus, people want to buy coins and bars. The math is simple. 835 million in, 1 billion out. We are eating into our savings, and the savings account is almost empty. But there is one specific industry that is about to double its silver consumption overnight. It isn't solar. It isn't electric cars. It is something new. And when this industry fully comes online later this year, the deficit isn't going to be a gap anymore. It is going to be a canyon. I'll explain what this new demand shock is and why it makes 835 million ounces look like a drop in the bucket. Here is the math. We have been in the red for 5 years. The total deficit over that time is massive. 800 million ounces. That is how much more silver the world used than we actually dug out of the ground. 800 million ounces gone, vaporized. Where did that extra silver come from? If we aren't mining it, where are we getting it? It came from the stockpiles. It came from old vaults. It came from grandmothers melting down silverware. It came from the above-ground supply. Think of it like a bathtub. The faucet is the mines. That is the new water coming in. The drain is the global demand. That is the water rushing out. For 5 years, the drain has been wide open, but the faucet is just a trickle. The water level in the tub has been dropping and dropping and dropping. We survived the last 5 years by draining the tub, but now we are hearing that sucking sound at the bottom. The water is gone. The Shanghai vault's critical levels. The COMEX declining for years. London vaults emptied and shipped to India. The cushion is gone. The safety buffer is zero. There is no slack left in the system. There is no emergency stash to raid when things get tight. And now you understand why the mints are closing. We are finally seeing the consequences of 5 years of eating our own seed corn. This isn't a glitch. This is a structural collapse. It won't be fixed next week. It won't be fixed next month. The hole is too deep. So what happens next? We are entering a new world. A world where the paper price and the real price get a divorce. They are splitting up. The paper price on your screen might keep crashing. It might bounce around. It might go to zero. The banks can manipulate those pixels on the screen as long as they want. But the physical price, the price to actually hold a bar in your hand, that is going to the moon. We are already seeing it. The premiums are the proof. In Japan, you pay 60% extra. In Dubai, you pay 40% extra. The screen says $95. The dealer says, that's cute. Pay me $130. That gap is going to get wider. Eventually, the paper price won't matter at all because nobody will sell you real metal for paper prices. This has happened before. Look at 1979 and 1980. The last great silver squeeze. It was the same story. Dealers ran out. Premiums exploded. You couldn't find silver anywhere. The paper market tried to lie, but eventually reality punched it in the face. Silver went from $6 to $50. That is an 800% explosion. It happened fast. I am not saying it will happen the same way. The players are different today. The computers are faster, but the laws of physics haven't changed. You can print paper contracts. You can print dollars, but you cannot print silver. You can't type a code into a computer and make a metal bar appear. You have to find it, dig it, refine it, and ship it. Paper manipulation works for a while. It can delay the truth, but it cannot kill the truth. Physical reality always wins. It has a 100% win rate. The question isn't if the price will correct. The question is when. And looking at the empty vaults and the 39% lease rates, I think when is right now. So look in the mirror. Who are you in this scenario? There are 3 types of people watching this video. Type 1 is scared. They see the crash and they panic. They act on emotion. They sell at the bottom because they don't understand the game. They are the victims. Type 2 is confused. They see the price crashing, but they see the mints closing. Their brain can't compute the contradiction. So they do nothing. They freeze. They get run over. Type 3 is prepared. This is the outlier. They see the paper crash for what it is, a lie. They see the physical shortage for what it is, the truth. They don't panic. They capitalize. They are buying while everyone else is crying. Which one are you? Let's look at the scoreboard one last time. Price down 22%. Perth Mint closed. US Mint closed. Royal Mint empty. India defaulting. China draining. Lease rates skyrocketing. The price went down. The metal disappeared. That is the paradox. But there is one final piece of the puzzle that explains why this is happening today. Why January 30th? Why this specific Friday? It turns out there is a legal deadline looming that forces the banks to smash the price or face jail time. I found a regulation they are trying to hide, and it explains everything. One of these things is a lie. And I promise you, it is not the empty vault. An empty vault cannot lie to you. It is just empty. This is what market manipulation looks like in the real world. It is the violent collision of a paper fantasy and a hard physical reality. This is what happens when a system built on IOUs tries to cash a check it cannot pay. They dump the price. The world ran out of metal. Now you have to choose a side. You have to decide which side of the equation you want to be on when the music stops. Do you want to be holding the paper contract that says you own silver, or do you want to be holding the silver? Remember the car dealership. Remember the empty lot. The price is crashing, but you cannot buy the product. That is not a market. That is a magic trick. That is a sleight of hand designed to make you look left while they steal from the right. But now you know how the trick works. You can see the wires. But there is one loose and we need to tie up. I told you there is a legal deadline looming. A specific date when this manipulation effectively becomes illegal for the banks. It is a new global banking rule that changes how gold and silver are counted on a balance sheet. It forces banks to hold the real metal, not the paper promise. When this rule fully kicks in, the paper game is over. The banks know the date, the Chinese know the date, and you need to know it, too. I broke down the exact timeline and the specific regulation in this video right here. It explains exactly when the banks are forced to cover their shorts. Click here to see how much time is left on the clock. I will see you there.